Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're here for the first time, hi, my name is Sarah. I make weekly videos about fashion, lifestyle, travel, and all of those good things. If any of that interests you, make sure to go ahead and subscribe so you get notified when I post my next video. But for today's video, I'm going to be doing something that I've kind of wanted to do for a long time. This is all of my long distance tips, advice, does it work, how to make it work, that sort of thing. And I'm really excited because this has been my life for a very long time, and I feel like I've learned so much and I want to share that all with you. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so a little bit of background. Basically, my boyfriend and I started dating junior year of high school, and right after we graduated high school, we went long distance. He went away for the summer and I left 2 weeks after he got back to move to college. And so starting that summer, he was in Europe for the whole summer, and then I moved to Alabama. We're originally from California, so we did super long distance for 3 years until I graduated last May, and now we've been doing California to California distance. It's about 3 hours apart, which is so much better. But so we've done distance basically all of college. This has been our life for 4 years, which is, I feel like we've learned a ton and has been such a blessing in a weird way, but I also feel like I was not prepared going into it. I did not know what I was getting myself into. That's kind of the background. We've been long distance for almost 4 years. June of this year will make it 4 years officially. So that's just a quick background because I feel like that's kind of necessary. Okay, and let's go on to the tips now. So my very first long distance tip is to stay super busy. Like, stay busy. I cannot stress that enough. My freshman year of college, which is his freshman year of college, I didn't do a whole lot. I kind of sat in my dorm room, I hung out with my friends, and school wasn't really super busy yet, and it's just really hard to not miss the other person when you're not super busy. And as years went on, kind of my second year of college and my third year of college, I got super busy, and so did he, and we just found that that made it a lot easier. And when I asked him for his tips and his input on this, that was one of the things that he said. He said, stay super busy. It just makes it a whole lot easier, and it's harder to miss the other person. And obviously you want to miss the other person. You want to still think about them, but it makes it not so many super tough nights when you are really busy with homework or extracurriculars or clubs, or if you're like an adult with work. All of that sort of thing. I would just recommend staying super busy, get involved, use it as a time to do all the things that you've wanted to do and maybe wouldn't be able to do if you were dedicating more time to your relationship in person. Number 2 is learn to be empathetic. This is such a huge one that I don't think I was super good at, especially at the beginning. I'm not so great at it even now, but be empathetic and understand where the other person is coming from. It was a long kind of learning curve for me, learning, okay, my partner has my best interest in mind, my partner really cares about me, my partner did not mean to upset me, my partner is busy so he's not texting me back, all of that sort of thing, as opposed to, oh, my partner doesn't care about me, why isn't he texting me back? Put yourself in your partner's shoes, learn to do that, and it will make everything a whole lot easier. Number 3, learn how to fight. That may sound like a really silly thing, and this is kind of just a general relationship tip, but learn how to fight. Learn what you need to get through a fight and still be on the same team at the end. That's something that we kind of started saying over the last maybe year or so, is when we're kind of in a heated fight, which happens, I think conflict is healthy, but if you're in a relationship and you're fighting, we stop and say we're on the same team. If one of us feels like we aren't listening, somebody's being defensive, somebody's being extra aggressive, that sort of thing, like, we're on the same team, we both want to fix this, we both want to be happy, we both want to continue our relationship, But sometimes that takes a lot of work. It took me, probably like 4 years of our relationship, so it's probably only been the last year or so that I've recognized that I really need to take 2 minutes, and he needs to give me 2 minutes. If we're in the middle of a fight, I need 2 minutes. I need to be able to collect myself. I need to kind of tap out of my emotions, tap more into my logical side, because I will fly off the handle. And I think he's probably learned that sorry is really, really important to me. A verbal apology can basically diffuse any fight, and I basically am not mad after someone says sorry. But that would be my third tip. I think that learn how to fight, because that's going to be something that you need for the rest of your relationship. And I think it's so important in such, I don't want to say a mature thing, but I think it's something that a lot of mature couples have learned, is how to fight and still be friends at the end. Number 4, know yourself and know what you need to feel loved. I'm sure you've heard of the 5 love languages. Look those up if you haven't. That's probably a good place to start. What makes your partner feel loved? Mine are gifts and words of affirmation. So if he goes on a trip, a candle saying that he thought about me, or waking up to a text if there was different time zones, or stuff like that meant a lot to me. For him, it's a little bit harder, but talking on the phone, it's a little bit harder, just to clarify, because his love languages are quality time and physical touch. Not really super conducive with a long distance relationship, but we ended up talking on the phone, Skyping, all of that sort of thing, kind of spending that quality time together. But I think it's really, really important to know yourself and know what you need to feel loved. Another big aspect of that is, do you need to know where the relationship is going? I didn't think I did at the beginning, but I got to the point where I really needed to know that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I needed to know, I needed to be able to talk about the future. I needed to be able to talk about what happens after distance is over. And that was, I did not know that about myself before distance, and probably a year and a half into it, we had to have a really kind of adult discussion about, okay, where is this going? And just making sure that I was feeling fulfilled and that he was feeling fulfilled by this relationship. Because even though it is long distance, it's still a relationship. It's still very, very important to foster it and to make sure that you're just feeling loved and feeling fulfilled, and that it's still working for you. It also goes down to the nitty-gritty kind of day-to-day stuff. Do you want to text every day? Do you just need, we are kind of a good morning and good night kind of person. We talk on the phone before bed, maybe a couple times a week, but for the majority of the part, we are pretty much all texting. But I do get to see him a lot more frequently than I did when we were longer distance, back when I was in Alabama. But it's those things that you have to learn about yourself. I really need extra attention this week because I'm feeling down, or because I'm super homesick, or because I miss you a lot, or whatever. Just kind of knowing those things about yourself, I think, will help a ton. Number 5, and this was one of the things that my partner also said, know the next time you're going to see each other. This just makes it so much easier to get through everything when you have the next time that you're going to see each other. I had an app on my phone, and I always wrote down halfway done in my planner and on my calendars and all of that sort of stuff. And it just makes it so much easier, even if you're not going to see each other for 6 months. I think the uncertainty can a lot of the times be super tough. It's just tough to not know. And we did that a few times where we didn't know, and it was just so much easier when you know. It's just so much easier. Number 6, I'm having to do on to 2 hands now. Be serious and mature about where your relationship is going. Hopefully you're not going to be long distance forever, right? So if you want to not be long distance forever, you need to have a plan for ending long distance. For us, it was, we got to get through college. So we had to, he graduates in June, I graduated last May. You got to get through college, and then it'll be over, right? theoretically it'll be over. For some people, that's, okay, you live in Southern California, I live in Northern California. Eventually, we're either going to have to move to a new place or one of us is going to have to move to the other person. And if you're not willing to do that, I would say that it's probably not going to end super well. Nobody wants to be long distance forever. I think that it's really hard to build like a permanent life when you're long distance. And honestly, long distance isn't fun. It's not like a walk in the park, super awesome, skips and roses and all that sort of stuff, which obviously no relationship is, but I think long distance especially, a lot of your relationship is going to be tough. A lot of your relationship is going to be lonely nights and not hearing from the other person and just wanting a hug and all of those sort of things that it's just, yeah, it's not, especially I would say more than the average relationship, it's really not a super positive experience. And so why go through all of that negative kind of thing if you're not looking for kind of a long-term relationship? Obviously, that depends on person to person. Some people aren't looking for a long-term relationship. But the way that I look at it is long distance is really awful. And so why would you do that to yourself if you don't think that the person is worth it and you can't see yourself maybe being with them long term? Like, I think that may sound kind of silly, but if it's not fun, and so it's a serious thing having to do long distance, you gotta be all in. I think that any problem that your relationship has, going long distance will amplify it. I was really jealous our freshman year of college, super, super jealous, and he wasn't really willing to plan a whole lot at the beginning and things like that, and I think those problems we probably would have had we not been long distance, but it was super amplified because you don't have that intimacy of just being close to each other, and so I think you have to really like be all in and be really serious and mature about where your relationship is going, what you're looking for, because it's not fun and it's not worth it if, in my opinion anyways, it's not worth it if there's not something that you're really looking forward to at the end. So lastly, do I think that long distance relationships work? I think it depends, honestly. I've seen lots and lots and lots of long distance couples break up. Some of that is just because they were looking for different things or whatever, but I also think that long distance, like I said, puts every problem that you've had under the microscope, and that can be way too much for a lot of couples. I kind of feel like, I don't know how we made it. I guess we technically haven't made it yet. We still have, 3 months? But I don't think that the last 3 months, which are probably going to be the easiest 3 months of distance that we've ever done, are going to necessarily be the end of us. So I don't think that every long distance relationship will work. I think it takes a ton of effort. I think you have to be mature about it. I think you have to be willing to put in the commitment, because it's not worth it, to me anyways, if you're not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that if you just aren't kind of mature enough to have that sort of relationship, it might not work. I kind of tend to think when you're older, obviously it'll work better. If you're more in your adult life, it'll probably be a lot easier than if you're like a freshman in college, or in high school. But like college, long distance, I think it probably has pretty slim pickings of working, and being more adult long distance probably has a little bit better of a chance. That's just kind of my own personal opinion. Obviously, I just do feel like I was kind of minority of, I'm still dating the guy that I was dating senior year of high school, because everyone else has kind of been picked off. That sounds really bad, but that's how I feel, honestly. So just my advice, just last piece of advice, it doesn't last forever. Distance doesn't it doesn't last forever. Hopefully it doesn't last forever. Hopefully there's some sort of plan for making it not last forever. I think that it's a really, really good growing experience. I feel like we would not have been as close as we are now had we not been in a long distance relationship. It makes you, it gives you so many positives, like being able to get really involved in wherever you are, joining extra groups, going networking, putting everything that you have into your job, spending more time with your family, spending more time with your friends, and just learning about yourself and being able to build the life that you want without having to so much worry about the other person. And I feel like we've just learned so much about each other. If you can get through that amplified kind of under the microscope thing, I think it makes your relationship so much better, so much healthier. Really, really learn how to get through conflict. You really, really learn what the other person needs to feel loved. You really, really appreciate every little thing. I say this all the time that I hope that if we're together in a few years and not long distance, that I always remember what it feels like to be long distance, just because I feel like you appreciate the other person so much more because you know what it's like to be without them for so long. So there are a lot of pros to long distance, and I think that it's totally worth it. I am so glad that we gave it a try, because here we are 4 years later still doing it, and I'm just so grateful that we decided to kind of go for it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that it was kind of a long and rambly one. I think it's probably going to be around 15 minutes long. But if you liked it, don't forget to like, and if you have any other great long distance tips, leave them below, because I feel like long distance people have an automatic bond. It's automatically like, oh my gosh, you're long distance too? That's so funny. Or doesn't it suck? And so leave comments down below with your best tips, and so that way if somebody clicks on this video, they can get some more tips down below too. And as always, if you like this video, you can subscribe to get notified for my next video. See you next time. Bye!